Wouldn't it be great if you could validate your startup idea in less than 1 hour? Because you absolutely positively have to validate your startup idea. That's what today's video is all about. There are 9 steps you need to take to validate your startup idea. And I'm betting you can do them in less than 1 hour. Hi, I'm Brett. On my channel, I help early stage startup CEOs like you raise money and grow your startup. So, if this sounds like you, then hit the subscribe button and the bell so you get notified every time I release a new video. Let's get started. And let me give you an idea of what we're trying to accomplish here. The idea is not to be perfect with your analysis. The idea is to give you a go, no-go idea of if it makes sense to go forward. So how do you do this? It's essentially to go through these 9 steps. If you can make it through each step, then go forward. If you can't make it through a step, then you have a choice. You can give up on the idea or you can do more work. However, I'm betting if you get 80% of the way there on each one of these steps, that you will know whether you've got a good startup idea or not. So let's get started with number 1 on our list. Step number 1, validate the market size. You have to understand how big the market is that you're playing in. So how do you do this? Quickly. In today's world, we have tools like Google and ChatGPT. You can search and get a basic idea of the market size you're going after quickly. There are 2 methodologies you should use. The first is top-down. That means starting with the global market size and slicing down from there. The second is bottom-up. For example, you know your price per unit and you know how many customers there are out there. Multiply the 2 and you've got your TAM, total available market. You can do both versions of this quickly. Why is this important? Because if the market isn't big enough to build the business you want to build, it's time to go back to the drawing board. And one last note. If you find yourself struggling to explain which market you're in or who exactly your customer is, that's a red flag in itself. Now let's move to step number 2 on our list. Step 2. Do you have an edge? Let's say the idea is good. The market is big. Awesome. But let me ask you this. Why are you the right person to build this company? Do you have unique experience? Do you have a deep personal connection to the problem? Do you see something others don't? This is what investors call founder market fit. Without it, you're just another smart person choosing a trendy idea. This doesn't mean you need a PhD or 10 years of domain experience, but you should be able to point to some unfair advantage that gives you credibility and speed to market. Now, let's move to step number 3 on our list. Step number 3. Do you actually want to run this company? This is where people lie to themselves. You've got a cool idea. Maybe you could get funding. Maybe the market is hot, but now you have to really think and ask yourself, do I actually want to be running this business for at least the next 7 to 10 years? You're going to go through many near-death experiences along the way. You have to be all in, or you will not have the drive and motivation to build your company. So really ask yourself the tough questions about what you really want now before it's too late. Now let's move to number 4 on the list. Step number 4. Can you recruit the team you need to win? Can you find the people you need? Will they join you? And do you need co-founders? Let's say you're an engineer and you've got a great idea. You validated the market. Now you're thinking, what do I need in my co-founders? Maybe it's more engineers. Maybe it's a business person or a marketer. Can you find these people? What team members are you going to need in the first 1 to 2 years? Where are they? You've got LinkedIn. You've got your existing network. Between those two, you should be able to tell whether you can recruit your core team. And if the success of the company depends on hard to find, expensive, or reluctant talent, then you may be biting off more than you can chew. In my case, it was, could we recruit and find analog design engineers? I tested this, and we were able, indeed, to recruit the top talent we needed to get started. Next, let's move to number 5 on our list. Step number 5. Can you build the thing? It seems simple enough. Can you actually build what you're trying to build? Are there special technologies you need to access? Facilities, supply chains, partnerships? Maybe you just need your laptop and time to code. Maybe you're building hardware and need labs or manufacturing partners. Do a quick sketch of what's required. Here's what matters most. It's not just can it be built, but how fast can I test it? If you can get a rough version out there and test it quickly, then you're in a much better spot because you've reduced your risk and your potential investors' risk too. Now let's move to step number 6 on our list. Step number 6. Who are your competitors? And are you better than them? Every company on earth has a competitor. Even for a new business segment, there's always the old way of doing things. So, what was there before you that people do if your product or service didn't exist? Well, that's your competition. Who are they? How big are they? What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? And how can you beat them? You can build a quick thumbnail sketch of who you're competing with. That's what you want to do. Now, here's the question you need to answer. Are you significantly better where you've made the decision a no-brainer for your potential customers to buy from you? Bonus points here. If you can clearly explain your key insight, something your competitors have missed, that's a strong sign you're on to something. Now, let's move to step number 7 on our list. Step 7. How will your customers find you? I know what you might be thinking. If we build it, our customers will find us. Wouldn't that be lovely? The problem is that doesn't work. It never has and it never will. So don't delude yourself on this one. You need to have a thoughtful strategy of how customers are going to find you. So spend some time thinking about this. I'll bet you, if you spend 5 or 10 minutes brainstorming, you can come up with a reasonable strategy of how people are going to find your company. It's obvious how they're going to find you. Maybe it's marketing. Maybe it's advertising. Maybe it's SEO. I don't know what it's going to be in your case, but you have to think about how are your customers going to find you? How much is it going to cost to acquire your customers? And do you have the budget for this? These are all critical things. Maybe it's word of mouth. Maybe it's your personal network to get you your customers. Ideally, it is something that costs very little at the beginning. Think it through. Come up with the answers. And make sure that it's something you can execute on. Now, let's move to step number 8 on my list. Step number 8. How will you get customers to buy? What is your business model? Every company has to make money at some point, unless you're Uber. But that's another story. So, you have to make money. How are you going to turn a profit? What's the price that you're going to sell at? And how are you going to entice your customers to buy from you? The goal early on is making it a no-brainer for your customers to buy from you. So think about what's the no-brainer going to be for you and your business. Now, let's move to step number 9 on my list. Step number 9. What will it cost and can you fund it? How much money is it going to take to build this company that you're talking about? It's always good to figure out how much it's going to cost, because if you leap in and you don't know how much it's going to cost, you could be set up to fail from the start. For example, do you think it's going to cost you $1 million and you only have $100,000 and access to $100,000? What are you going to do about the other $900,000? That's kind of important, don't you think? How much are salaries going to be? How much are you going to have to spend on tools, equipment, rent, and marketing costs and sales costs? You can build a thumbnail sketch for the first year or 2 years of your business to figure this out really fast. Then you can figure out how much revenue you think you're going to make. This simple analysis is going to tell you how much money you need. Then I double that, because you're likely to be off, because everybody's optimistic. Now, you'll have a reasonable idea of how much money you can spend. Each step in the process is a go, no-go step. You have a startup idea worth pursuing if you believe you can execute each step. You'll at a minimum have to figure out how to solve any step that you don't think you can complete before going forward. Now, if this content is resonating with you, then please hit the like button right now. One final thought. Stay intellectually honest. You want to be as objective as possible for as long as possible about the new venture you might start. Try to have what's called a beginner's mind, where you look at each piece of data as if it were the first time you had seen it. Then you can make a sound decision on whether to go forward or move on to the next idea on your list. Now, I have 3 more things for you today. First, if you want to work with me on your startup, then just scan the QR code. Second, you can use my free startup pitch deck template. It has all the slides you need to develop an awesome pitch deck. Scan the QR code to get yours for free. And third, join my free group of startup CEOs, Zero to Pitch. It's a community for startup CEOs focused on growing their companies and raising funding for their companies. Scan the QR code to join. Finally, click the subscribe button to get notified every time I release a new video. I'm Brett at brettjfox.com. Thanks for watching today. Take care. Bye.